What's going on, Dolphins? It is your boy Dillon, and now that we are to the point of the season where I've done all the work and I'm starting to make these, free agency videos and stuff, I'm going to be rolling right through them because, free agency opens up now in 15 days. It is March 16th the new league year will begin, and the free agency period will begin. Real quick, I do want to mention, there has been talk about maybe the Dolphins franchise tagging Mike Gesicki, so I just want to mention that quick now in case, they do before I get to the tight ends portion of my, phase here, because he obviously could potentially be a free agent, and, if they don't franchise tag him or give him a new contract. So, I just want to mention that because there has been, reports and talks and stuff about it. So, but anyway, today, though, is going to be running backs. I'm going to focus on running backs, but I'm going to be doing the look at the deep dive at the Dolphins' current running backs and who they have on their roster. Now, there is going to be a little bit of a redundancy, a little bit of a repeat when I do the free agency video tomorrow for running backs. Phillip Lindsay and Duke Johnson will be on that list because they are free agents going into this offseason, and the Dolphins have to decide if they want to keep them or not. So they will be on both of these lists because I'm obviously going to look at them today as well. But, hopefully they sign those guys, and then there will be other guys on tomorrow's list that we can look at too as possible free agent targets if they want to go in that direction. But anyway, so let's go ahead and jump right into this, and let's get to it. So first off, again, I always want to start this by letting you guys see what my current position rankings are by need: offensive line, tackles, and center, and then running back, wide receiver, linebacker, a true middle, defensive line, edge, and then tackle, cornerback, tight end, safety, quarterback, backup, because that's what we need, and a specialist punter. So those are my priorities and how I prioritize the positions on this roster. And so now let's go ahead and take a look at the running backs. So first off, we have Phillip Lindsay, who's going into his 5th year. He is going to be an unrestricted free agent at the age of 28 with a $3.25 million current APY. These are his measurables, pro day scores, etc., etc. He was undrafted in 2018, 4 years in the league. Started off with the Broncos from 18 to 20. In 2021, he had a little bit of time with the Texans, and then obviously came over to us, and then now he's been here since then, right? Because we picked him up, in the back end of last season. So we have, let me just say, to get it out there, and I've said it, a couple times in previous videos, but I want them to address offensive line and free agency, and then I want us to get our running back in the draft, and I want them, as far as free agency goes, I want them to sign Duke Johnson and Phillip Lindsay at least, because I think, and then you have Myles Gaskin, who is and Jared Dokes, who are recent draft picks. So what I'm saying is I think that if you went into this upcoming season with Duke Johnson, Phillip Lindsay, either Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker, or Isaiah Spiller, whichever running back you pick up in the second round of this draft, excuse me, and then Myles Gaskin and Jared Dokes, I think you're perfectly fine with your running back room. Especially, too, because you can expect that we're going to have wide receivers and stuff line up out of the backfield as well with Mike McDaniel and these guys that we have on our offensive coaching staff. So I think you'd be perfectly fine with that being your running back room. And again, Duke Johnson, Phillip Lindsay, either one of the 3 guys from this upcoming draft in the second round, Kenneth Walker, Breece Hall, or Isaiah Spiller, and Myles Gaskin and Jared Dokes. I think that's perfectly fine. That's what they should do. So he's got 56 games played, 33 started, 1,398 snaps, 349.5 per year. He's got 622 rushing attempts, 155.5 per year, 2,799 total yards, 699.75 per year, 50 per game, and 4.5 average average. So that's every time that he touches the ball, rushes the ball. He does have 18 touchdowns, 4.5 per year, and 37 10-plus yarders to his career. Receiving, he's got 114 targets, 28.5 per year, 81 receptions with 20.25 per year. I think it's really important to have these per year statistics in there so you can kind of get an idea of what you're going to, by their track record, what you could reasonably expect. Now, obviously that could change, right? Like a guy like Phillip Lindsay could get a pretty substantial workload in a Mike McDaniel offense, for example, maybe as a receiving back or something like that, right? Anyway, he's a 71.1% catch percentage, 510 receiving yards, 127.5 per game. But this is what they have done historically over their careers. And so the longer they have their, the longer their career is, the more likely it is to be accurate, because obviously it's an average over the entirety of their career. He's got 9.1 yards per game with a 6.3 average, 2 touchdowns, so half a touchdown per year, and 2 20-plus yarders in the receiving game. For his 2021 stats, he had 14 games, 1 started, 159 snaps, obviously started the season with the Texans and then came to us halfway. Rushing, 88 attempts, 249 yards, 17.8 per game, 2.83 average, with 1 touchdown and 2 10-plus yarders. In the receiving game, he had 5 targets, 4 receptions with an 80% catch percentage, 45 yards, 3.2 yards per game, 11.25 average, 1 touchdown and 1 20-plus yarder. And remember, if their 2021 stats are in green, it's because they either tied or set career bests. It's not just setting career bests. It's also if they matched a career best. So, and he did make the Pro Bowl. He obviously is one of the more accomplished running backs. Him and Duke Johnson are the two, accomplished and veteran guys that we really have in that locker room. And I think the limited amount of, playing time that they got this past year, I think they showed that they are worth making the foundation of your running back room and the way to go. And we'll look at the free agents tomorrow. But honestly, again, I want them to keep these two guys and then get one of those stud running backs in the draft. And I think that you're fine, especially with the other 2 guys that you drafted recently as, developmental or backup guys or whatever. Anyway, and then you're also going to get Lynn Bowden Jr. back too, let's not forget. So, he also was Pro Football Writers Association All-Rookie Team. He got that nod in 2018. As for his grades in 2021, on those 159 snaps, 53.9 overall, 56.6 rushing, 52.7 receiving. 2020 snaps, 270 of them, 69.8 overall, 77.7 rushing, and a 32.8 receiving. 2019, 516 snaps, 71.3 overall, 78.9 rushing, 50.7 receiving. Although he seems to struggle as the receiving back. So maybe you stick to him as just a rushing kind of guy. But I do like, now look, if you get a Breece Hall or a Kenneth Walker or one of those guys, they're probably going to be your, I hate the bell cow, I hate that whole discussion, because I actually don't mind a running back by committee sort of approach. I just think you have to have good guys in that room. The reason why I say that is because when you have a bell cow back, and history proves this, after a few years, you just run them into the fucking dirt. And I get it. People are like, oh, running backs are expendable. You can just keep cycling them. But I just think that's a little unnecessary, especially because you need depth options anyway. So, I can see him being the main guy, but giving, if we get Breece Hall or Kenneth Walker, right, I could see, or Isaiah Spill, I could see him being, the main guy. But Duke Johnson and Phillip Lindsay are phenomenal pieces to use as relief pieces to give him a break and also to confuse defenses, because then you can do a whole bunch of, different things as well. You can get really creative. Anyway, in 2018, he had 453 snaps. This was his best year. Obviously, he had he went to the Pro Bowl in that year and, made the all-rookie team. An 82.4 overall, 85.1 rushing, and a 63.1 receiving. Duke Johnson is in his 8th year, so he is the old man in the room. He is one of the cheaper, though, with his current APY only at $990,000, and he is an unrestricted free agent at 29. Here's measurables, combine stats, etc. He was a round 3 pick, 77 overall in 2015, got 7 years in. Cleveland Browns 15 to 18, Texans from 19 to 20, and Dolphins from 21 to present. Although he didn't, I think he might have not even played at all like last year, or no, it was this year. Nobody had picked him up in 2021. That's what it was. He wasn't on a team in 2021 until we picked him up later on in the year. Anyway, career stats, he's got 96 games played, 21 started, 3,106 snaps, 443.7 snaps per year. By the way, he's kind of like the short yardage, goal line kind of back or whatever. He's going to be an aggressive runner, stuff like that. He's going to be in certain situations. But like I said, good relief piece, I think, and to mix things up. Rushing, 530 attempts, 76 per year, 2,261 yards, 323 per year, 23.6 per game, and 4.27 average. So you have his total, his per year average, per game average, and then per touch average. That's fun, right? A lot of different information here. 11 touchdowns, 1.6 touchdowns per year, 26 10-plus yarders. To his career, he's got 405 targets, 58 targets per year, 311 receptions, 44 per year with a 76.8 catch percentage, 2,870 yards, 410 per year, 29.9 per game, 9.23 average, 12 touchdowns, 1.7 per year, and 5 20-plus yarders. In 2021, he had 5 games, 4 started, 100, and it was all for us. 149 snaps, 71 rushing attempts, 330 yards, 66 per game, 4.65 average, 3 touchdowns, and 11 10-plus yarders. Receiving, he had 5 targets, 4 receptions, 80 catch percentage, 41 yards, 8.2 yards per game, and a 10.25 average with 1 20-plus yarder. And as far as his grades go, been pretty consistent for the most part over his career, right? And has performed a bit better than Phillip Lindsay in the receiving game as far as his grades go. Snaps 149 this year, 72.1 overall, 73.7 rushing, and a 53.2 receiving. Snaps in 2020, 354, 62.6 overall, 59.8 rushing, 66.7 receiving. 558 in 19, 74.2 overall, 78.3 rushing, 71 receiving. 459 in 2018, 72.1 overall, 68.3 rushing, and a 74 receiving. 2017, 565 snaps, 78.2 overall, 70.5 rushing, and elite 89.5 in the receiving game that year. 2016, 457 snaps, 64.6 overall, 59.8 rushing, 71 receiving, and in 2015, his rookie season, he got another elite mark in the receiving game, 83.6 on 564 snaps, 71.5 overall, 67 rushing. By the way, this obviously is their snaps period, right? So like, with running backs, it could be, maybe they ran the ball or maybe they caught the ball. With defensive players, that includes their run defense snaps, their coverage snaps, passing, pass defense, whatever, or that's coverage, whatever, you get it. So like, snaps is just snaps that they were on the field, period. Except for, I didn't include special teams, though. So it does not include their special team snaps. That was another piece of data that I could have put in, but I decided to omit that because, as you can see, there's obviously tons to go through. So anyway, moving on, though, we now get to John Lovett, who is an wait. I'm sorry. That's supposed to be his years, and I think, he's got 3 years in the league. That means he's on his 4th year. I was supposed to change that. Like I said, I am a stickler for making sure everything is exactly right. Anyway, he is cheap, though. Now, John Lovett, he actually was a tight end to start with, but we are going to be, the reason why he's in this section is because we have him listed as a fullback. So, and fullbacks I just, put in with running backs. So, I just wanted to explain that. But anyway, John Lovett's the guy that we just picked up. He's in his 4th year, 25. He's cheap. Here's his measurables and stuff. He was undrafted in 2019, got 3 years currently in the league. Started a little bit of time in 2019 with the Chiefs. 2020 and 2021, he was with the Packers, and then we just picked him up, so he's with us now. Career stats, he's got 8 games, 45 snaps, 15 per year. Rushing, 3 attempts, 1 per year. 6 yards, 2 per year. A .8 yard per game average, and a 2 yard average per rush. So doesn't have very much to talk about. We'll see what happens, man. I mean, like I said, he's a converted tight end that we're now going to be using as a fullback. So in 2021, didn't get any snaps, only had 45 in 2020 and had a 51.2 receiving grade and nothing else. And in 2019, no snaps. So, you know, the thing about that, right? So, like, if they're going to go that route, which indicates, one good thing that it indicates is that they are going to invest in the run game if they want to have a fullback. Now, Flores said they were going to do that, and they did draft Chandler Cox, and then, you know, they did use Christian Wilkins at fullback, and they did bring in Sathan Carter for that purpose and stuff, but it was all bullshit from him. But I believe it with Mike McDaniel because he's proven that over the course of his career to this point. Anyway, point is, though, is if you're going to do that, then you have, you know, one of those 3 running backs from this draft, Duke Johnson, Phillip Lindsay, find a fullback you like, and then, you know, maybe you keep Myles Gaskin on the active roster, and then, you know, Jared Oaks just spends another year on practice squad, or maybe you get rid of one of those guys. Maybe Gaskin, maybe they cut ties with Gaskin and keep Dokes around just because he was the more recent pick. I don't know. Salvon Ahmed, he's the next one. He's going into his 3rd year. He's an exclusive rights free agent at 23. Really cheap, obviously. Here's his measurables and stuff. He was undrafted in 2020. 2 years in the league, all with the Dolphins. He's got 18 games played, 4 started, 375 snaps, 187.5 per year, 129 rushing attempts, 64.5 per year, 468 yards, 234 per year, 26 per game, and 3.63 average. 3 touchdowns, 1.5 per year, and 12 10-plus yarders. Honestly, I mean, we have so many bodies. And again, I want to take a running back in the 2nd round this year. So, sorry, man. Go find another, you know, an opportunity somewhere else. That's one of the things that sucks about the NFL, right? Because it is a business like that. And there's just not enough room for everybody. I wish we could keep everybody because I'm, you know, a lovable kind of person in that way. Even though I know that everybody just thinks I'm super negative. Like, I actually would love, you know, I would love to be able to keep everybody because, you know, but it's not how it works, right? So, like, sorry, man, you got to find someplace else. I would get rid of him. Anyway, receiving, he's got 33 targets, 16.5 per year, 23 receptions, 11.5 per year with a 69.7 catch percentage, 178 yards, 89 per year, 9.9 per game, and 7.74 average. And look, man, I mean, you know, there's just so many bodies. He hasn't really shown a lot. And we're probably going to draft a guy pretty high regardless. So, you know, man, you got to make room. You got to make room. So, gone. He's not terrible, though. That's why I'm like, because it's not that he's necessarily bad. It's just that there's just not room, and you know you gotta make space. So I mean, you know, if he went into training camp, then okay, fine, and maybe if he like explodes, then but you're gonna have so many guys, so I would let him go. I've already told you what I would do, so we'll leave it at that. 2021 stats: 12 games, didn't start any, had 170 snaps. 54 attempts, 149 yards, 12.4 per game, 2.76 average with 3 10-plus yarders. He did have 19 targets, though, which is a career best, matched or set. I believe he set a career best, though. 19 targets, 12 receptions, 63.2 catch percentage, 117 yards, 9.8 per game, and a 9.75 average. In 2021, on those 170 snaps, a 56.6 overall. Same for rushing and a 63.5 receiving. In 2020, he had the better year as far as statistics go, and he did have more snaps, 205, 70.5 overall, 76.9 rushing, and 55.6 receiving. All right, next we're up to Malcolm Brown. I'll just say this. I mean, he hasn't done anything for us. I was never super high on them bringing him in to begin with. So, save that money. He's cheap, but, just save that money. Go ahead and save that roster spot. He's in his 7th year. He's an unrestricted free agent, 28. Here's his measurables. He was undrafted in 15, 6 years in the league, started with the St. Louis Rams in 15. Then they became the Los Angeles Rams, obviously, from 16 to 20. Miami Dolphins now, 2021 to present. Career stats, 77 games, 5 started, 1,169 snaps, 194.8 per year. Obviously hasn't gotten much usage. Rushing, 3, because, he hasn't really stuck anywhere so far. He was with the Rams for a while, don't get me wrong, but he obviously didn't, break the lineup very much. He's got 331 attempts, 55.2 per year. That's per year. I mean, some running backs will get that in most running backs will get that probably in 2 games. Or a lot of running backs, if they're the bell cow running back, they'll get that in 2 games, right? Anyway, 1,313 yards, 218.8 per year, 17.1 per game, 3.97 average, 12 touchdowns, 2 per year, and 23 10-plus yarders. Receiving, he's got 66 targets, 11 per year, 46 receptions, 7.7 per year, 69.7 catch percentage, 337 yards, 337 56.2 per year, 4.4 per game, 7.33 average, 1 touchdown, 0.2 per year, and one 20-plus yarder. So obviously not much out of him. And save the money, save the roster spot. 2021 stats, 12 games, 170 snaps, 33 attempts, 125 yards, 17.9 per game, 3.79 average, 3 10-plus yarders. Receiving, 5 targets, 3 receptions, 60% completion or catch percentage, and 10 yards, 1.4 per game, 3.33 average. Anyway, PFF grades, snaps, 129 this past year, 61.2 overall, 56.8 rushing, 54 receiving. 2020, 472 snaps, 57.1 overall, 67.3 rushing, 47 receiving. 222 in 2019. Again, obviously not very much usage, so, he hasn't really gained the confidence of anybody to say that he should be the guy, carrying the load. 64.4 overall, 72 rushing, 40.8 receiving in 18, 123 snaps. This was his best season, though, in 2018. He did break an elite overall, even though it kind of doesn't make sense when you average the other two. But it is what it is, 83.1. Rushing, he had a 76.5, and receiving a 78.3. In 2017, 149 snaps, 61.5 overall, 62.8 rushing, and a 55.8 receiving. 65 snaps in 16, had a 49.1 overall, 35.6 rushing, 83.9 receiving, so got an elite grade there. Although, again, how does all of that average out? I don't understand, but PFF is what PFF is. So 2015, he had 9 snaps, 58.4 overall, 57.3 rushing, and a 62.8 receiving. All right, and now that brings us to the second year man, because he was a rookie this past season, Jared Dokes. He's 23, 730. That's actually what his cap hit will be for this upcoming season. So here are his measurables, pro day scores. He was a round 7 pick, 246 overall in 2021. He's got 1 year in the league with the Dolphins. No snaps last season because he was on the motherfucking practice squad the entire fucking year. They did bring him up, once or twice, I think, something like that, and he didn't play at all. Got no snaps, so no grades. Not really much to talk about. He's still a developmental piece, but again, he would be included in my, going forward plan, just because he was drafted by us recently, and see what we can get out of him, especially with, a much better coaching staff in general. All right, now Myles Gaskin, 4th year man. He's 25 with a $2.5 million cap hit going into this, because he's at the last year of his deal, and he was a 7th round pick. That is a lot, though, huh? I feel. Anyway, supposed to cut that out. Anyway, so here's his measurables and all that good stuff, combine, pro day stuff. Draft status, round 7, 234 overall in 2019. 3 years in the league, all with us, obviously. 34 career games, 17 started, 1,153 snaps, 384.3 per year. And, he's been all right. I think he's been fine for a 7th round pick, right? And again, part of the reason why I think he's a fine guy to keep in the back end of the room, behind Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker, Isaiah Spiller, Duke Johnson, Phillip Lindsay. He could be the next guy. That's fine, right? Rushing, 351 attempts, 117 per year, 1,329 yards, 443 per year, 39.1 per game, 3.79 average, with 7 touchdowns at 2.3 touchdowns per year, and 27 10-plus yarders. He's been a solid receiving back, though, so... Like I said, I mean, I wouldn't mind keeping him around, but they could end up deciding to let him go. So, which wouldn't be good for these, most recent draft classes. I mean, they already have struggled and, don't look particularly great. I mean, the 2021 looks like the best, but the other ones are rough, and the back half of this draft class doesn't look so good as of right now. But anyway, he's got 122 targets, 40, so they don't need to lose more guys is what I'm saying. Those draft classes don't need to get worse for us. He's got 40.7 per year, 97 receptions, 32.3 per year, 79.5 catch percentage, 673 yards, 224.3 per year, 19.8 per game, and 6.94 average, 6 touchdowns, 2 per year, and 6 20-plus yarders. In 2021, he did set some career highs, though. 17 games played, 10 started, 575 snaps, 173 rushing attempts, 612 yards, 36 yards per game, 3.54 average, 3 touchdowns, 12 10-plus yarders. Receiving, he had 63 targets, 49 receptions, 77.8 catch percentage, 234 yards, 13.8 per game, 4.78 average, 4 touchdowns, and 2 20-plus yarders. As far as his grades go, 2021, 575 snaps. Were the snaps? Yeah, snaps. Overall, 64.8, 63.4 rushing, 70.6 receiving, 453 in 2020. And this was his best year graded-wise with a 74.5 overall, 70.5 rushing, 75.4 receiving. And I think that was, kind of goes in line with how most Dolphins fans really a lot of Dolphins fans really fell in love with Myles Gaskin last year because he did show some promise and some ability, but he's never going to be that top guy. He's just going to always be like a complimentary piece. 2019, he had 125 snaps, 57.4 overall, 64.8 rushing, 41.6 receiving. Patrick Laird, we got another guy here. Now, he seems like a nice guy and everything by all accounts. And again, I wish we could keep everybody, but that's just not how it works. So Patrick Laird can, go find work elsewhere, unfortunately. He's a guy that would be a pretty easy cut decision for me. 4th year, he's a restricted free agent, 26, current APY of $850,000. He is cheap. He was undrafted in 19, 3 years in, all with us. 37 games played, 4 started, 492 snaps, 164 per year, 76 rushing attempts, 25.3 per year, 244 yards, 81.3 per year, 6.6 per game, 3.21 average, 1 touchdown, 0.3 per year, and 7 10-plus yarders. He's got 45 targets in the receiving game, 15 per year, 36 receptions, 12 per year, 80% catch percentage, 289 yards, 96.3 per year, 7.8 per game, 8.03 average, and 2 20-plus yarders. So those are his career statistics. 2021, he played in 6 games, had 58 snaps, 1 rushing attempt, 4 yards, 0.7 per game, 4 average. Receiving, he had 3 targets, 3 receptions, caught all of them, so 100% catch percentage, 17 yards, 2.8 per game, and a 5.67 average. On those 58 snaps this past year, he had a 67.5 overall, 56.7 rushing grade, and a 79 receiving. 144 snaps in 2020, 55.5 overall, 49.2 rushing, 60.3 receiving, 290 snaps in 2019, 52.4 overall, 46.9 rushing, and a 66.4 receiving grade. So there you have it. That is the list of current Dolphins players in the running back room, including the converted tight end to now fullback that we just brought in, John Lovett. So this is actually that is an example of why I decided to actually do these further in-depth breakdown videos. It's also too because it is nice to go in-depth with each of these players so we can really get a better feel for who they are and what we can expect from them. But you know, because I just did a quick, these are all the guys on the roster, and I did give you their status as free agents and their cap hits and stuff like that. But it was nice to do. But this is an example because we obviously did sign a guy and did change the dynamic of that room and added a guy. So it is good to be able to make sure to give you the updated information on him and do a deep dive on him as well to see what, you know, he's done in his career up to this point. So there you have it. That is my video for the deep dive Dolphins running backs, who they currently have on the roster. Tomorrow I will be doing the video for the free agents. So again, Duke Johnson and Phillip Lindsay will be on there, so I probably won't really like cycle through and actually read through all of their stats again. I'll just, you know, scroll by it so it's in the video or whatever, and I'll probably just say, you know, what I said today. I want the Dolphins to re-sign Duke Johnson, re-sign Phillip Lindsay, and then get either Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker, or Isaiah Spiller in the second round of the draft in this upcoming draft, depending on how the board falls and who's available to them at 50. I mean, if all three of them were available at 50, I'd probably either go Isaiah Spiller's third on the list, but Kenneth Walker and Breece Hall, I'm kind of torn between. I like both of those guys. Although I am going to be doing a lot more research on them soon because obviously of the draft coming up in the near future, and I got to do videos on those guys. So I will be doing a lot more research, and then maybe I'll have a more definitive, but I like both of them. I think they're both really good from what I've seen so far, and either one would be fabulous. But if we had all of them together to choose from, I don't know. I think the consensus from all the experts would probably say Kenneth Walker, but I really like Breece Hall, and that's where I kind of was at the beginning is leaning Breece Hall, so I'll probably stay there for now. But like I said, it's kind of a toss-up between the two, and I'd love either one. So there you have it. Anyway, gonna wrap this up. Before I get out of here, make sure you check out the Rave On Sports App, the new fan-driven sports app for all of your sports, whether it be basketball, baseball, football, college, whatever you like, they got it, and they're looking to enhance your game day experience with live play-by-play coverage, live chats with other fans and content creators like myself, while also providing you with an arena to dispute the terrible officiating. So make sure you look for the links to that in the description box. And with that, I'm going to get out of here. Hope you guys appreciate my perspective. If you do, make sure you hit the subscribe button, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit the bell if you want to get the alerts. Share my channel and videos with your friends and family. Leave your questions, comments, and concerns down in the comment section. And of course, as always, follow me on Twitter at DillonTartaro, as well as on Instagram at Dolphins_with_Dillon. And with that, I am out. I'll see y'all soon. Fins up.
Miami wins it.